and also for them, after the statements are made, to take immediate action to resolve the issues. And so I'm going to permit the Honorable Member for Wa Central to make a statement on the devastating of Galamsey and irresponsible mining practices on Ghanaians by Honorable Dr. Rashid Pelpuo. This is because of the impact on the water sector in the country and the threats to the water system. Yes, Honorable Member, you may do so now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this unique opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I stand today on behalf of the many Ghanaians who have been afflicted by the unparalleled devastation we are witnessing across many communities in Ghana, especially the Western region and many other regions of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, our dear country Ghana is blessed with enviable natural resources, a beautiful shoreline and ecosystem of serene rivers, marshlands, and green vegetation on which our people of myriads of flora and fauna depend. Rivers like Pra, Amazule, Subin, and Often, Brim, Blackwater, and Lime and water bodies like the Abe Legon are sources of sustenance and refreshment for entire communities in the southwestern and central banks of our country. Our people fish from along these rivers. Economic activities thrive along them, while our children and adults enjoy their refreshing waters. Underneath our lands and our shores are even more valuable minerals like gold, diamond, bauxite, manganese, and others, as well as millions of others, barrels of oil, of cubic feet of gas, and other resources.
I'm recording.
Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, the people who live in the areas where these valuable minerals are found are of the country. While their resources fuel Ghana's economy, they themselves have had to contend with subsistent living, lack of acceptable healthcare facilities, and personnel, dilapidated and non-existent education facilities, among others. One would have thought that for an opportunity to mine gold and other minerals in these areas would have opened up these areas and lead tangible improvement in the standard of living of the indigenous population of these communities. Ironically, Mr. Speaker, in the past 10 years, irresponsible mining practices made possible by lackluster supervision and regular and regulatory regimes compiled with illegal mining or galamsey have left unspeakable devastation in these communities. Mr. Speaker, the level of destruction has taken on a new life of its own in the past 5 years. Today, Nkrofol, the birthplace of our pride and President of Ghana, Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, has been left with gullies and unspeakable devastation that pose major risks to the inhabitants. The situation is even worse in some areas where these destructive and highly polluting activities are carried out right in the middle of towns and villages in the full glare of security and administrative personnel. Large tracts of virgin lands and in Suta, in the western region, Pristia and western region, in the western region, Obuasi, Adansi, and several other places in the Upper West region as well, have been destroyed. Mr. Speaker, many rivers we have mentioned here have been polluted beyond recognition. The atmosphere is saturated with mercury contamination, cyanide, and other chemicals. Instead of refreshing the rivers, there are gullies and pools of mercury and silt-contaminated water. Children and adults alike have drowned in gullies left uncovered by these irresponsible activities. The Speaker, that the President is addressing the Galamsey, in addressing the Galamsey in 2017, made a statement that, and I quote, "I am willing to put my presidency on the line." Today, the Speaker, Galamsey and various versions of this have become a normal practice. The attempt at tackling these menace only lead to cronies of the government in power and other individuals, and particularly connected Ghanaians and foreign nationals, being given licenses with no follow-up to determine what they do. Mr. Speaker, security forces have enforced the law only half-heartedly. Mr. Speaker, the lack of will to act at the top has led to suspicion about the security of authorities in taking the right actions in these irresponsible and illegal activities. At this rate, Mr. Speaker, unless something drastic is done to curb this menace, many in our nation, and these are the most vulnerable of our population, would need to import water for the survival and continuing debilitating these diseases that can result from prolonged mercury poisoning. Mr. Speaker, the opportunity of doing nothing about this current mayhem unleashed by irresponsible mining practices and Galamsey is enormous. Our country stands at the crossroad today. We in Parliament have the onerous responsibility to and require the government of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the Minerals Commission, the Ministry of Lands and Forestry, the Ghana National House of Chiefs, and the Regional House of Chiefs, and especially those in the hotspots in the act to curb this menace once and for all. Mr. Speaker, a government environmental activist, Mrs. Elizabeth Ba, who I found on Facebook and other social media, has put out some very important areas of commissioning for our understanding. And Mr. Speaker, about 3,500 signatories in Ghana and abroad, all are found citing and signing these resolutions which he put across. And Mr. Speaker, may I just quote a few of them? And number one being that we are called on to halt the matter of agency as a matter of agency, the imposition of executors, and to ensure that the matter is brought to an end. Number two, Mr. Speaker, the government of Ghana to halt all licensing of the prospecting of gold, bauxite, and any other minerals in the forest. The Speaker, he also said that we need to have all mining activities in our near bodies of water and forest reserves halted with immediate effect. And we also need to have all current mining licenses holders present their land reclamation plans to an independent created body made up of professionals in land reclamation and mining. Mr. Speaker, having read all these, I have took notice that the President, in mentioning the minister to take over from the past minister, he particularly mentioned a young person, Honorable Samuel Jinapo, to take over as the Minister for Lands and Forestry. We look forward to seeing a more determined foresight in saving our dear country. This will address the earlier lackluster approach in dealing with the issue. Mr. Speaker, I have another page which I have left out just because it looks like there's a lot of time we need to. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Deputy Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, view my senior colleague's statement under the rules of this House. And the terms of the statement, as you admitted, is supposed to be fully made available to the House. So I would suggest, most humbly, that if he holds a view that for want of time, he wouldn't want to read everything, then he must apply to the chair for Hansa to capture the entire statement. Other than that, I think, Mr. Speaker, there will be a difficulty. Mr. Speaker, without boring you, Order 72 is clear on what it is. I'm grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Well, honorable members, I would just direct that he submits a copy of the statement to be fully captured by the Hansard office. Yes. Honorable Kofi Armah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me first of all thank the maker of the statement, Honorable Pelpuo, for this very important statement on a very important topic, Galamsey. The Speaker, the devastation that this menace is causing in our country, especially in the communities that he mentioned, cannot be overemphasized. The pollution to our water bodies, our rivers, the pollution to even the air we breathe, the daily stories of young men dying in pits, the devastation that this is causing. Mr. Speaker, clearly what has been recounted. Mr. Speaker, on this day, and because I'm speaking in Parliament, I want to talk about even the issuance of mining licenses to the so-called very legitimate mining companies and what they are actually doing to encourage Galamsey. Mr. Speaker, a lot of these Galamsey activities have been occurring in our community, especially in my community. And I started to investigate why the constant interest. And I found out that the big mining companies who have concessions occasionally will not be getting the kind of mines that they had projected they will get in the area. So they are getting what they call tailings from the illegal Galamseyers. And that is actually what is keeping their business going, encouraging illegal. And Mr. Speaker, even as we describe and talk about this effect, I think I'm calling on government, especially the Minerals Commission, to ban this tailing that these mining companies are getting. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I think it's also very important that just last week there was a shooting, a rancor between a community, the Valua Jomrojura, and a mining company at Damus. And Mr. Speaker, if you go into the story, it had to do with a community with a lot of young people with no jobs, and the feeling that the mining company has not even been engaging them. It is important that mining communities, basically engage properly the communities and have a long-term plan with these communities. You cannot work in a community and mine and take the only resources they have. You can get your licenses from the government in Accra, but the real people with the social licenses are the communities. And often when these mining companies go to these communities, the communities are ignored. They can't mine, they don't have any authority, and yet they feel completely helpless. It is important that if we are to address illegal mining, these issues must also be addressed. But Mr. Speaker, more importantly, we must have a plan. And I think that the maker of the statement talked about political will. The history of our fight with Galamsey is a very extended one. I'm sure that every government has tried it. But we have to ask the question, why do we always fail? Mr. Speaker, we fail because at the core of this business, illegal Galamsey, is survival. And we must really find the solution. And Mr. Speaker, the solution lies in making sure that we do the things that will empower the youth. We do the things that will empower our young people. I think the call that we immediately get the Minerals Commission and other government institutions to begin a bold decision to the issuance of licenses close to water bodies should be a starting point. But Mr. Speaker, more importantly, the lessons in the last 2 years must tell us something. We cannot make a bold decision that we want to fight Galamsey and somehow think that we can make exceptions. We can make exceptions to our cronies, we can make exceptions to our party friends, and somehow we can succeed. It was obvious that the reason why we got where we were was because people just got out of control. This is clearly a lesson that we should learn if we are to succeed in this fight against Galamsey. It is a fight we must win. It is a fight we must win together. It is a fight that is at the heart of Ghana's own survival. Check our water bodies around. So, Mr. Speaker, it's a very important statement. We must fight Galamsey, but we must fight it together. We must fight it with one objective: to protect our water bodies and create alternatives for our young people. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.